Okay, so apparently the Pasadena Police Department is not giving away accommodations to officers who practice the art of de-escalation. Today is Monday, December the 11th, 2023, and it's currently 15:20 hours. A black cop who was punished for de-escalating an incident files discrimination lawsuit. She came upon the incident involving an officer and a citizen. This citizen was the son of Mr. Charles Towns. Now, Mr. Charles Towns was unalived by LAPD a week ago to the posting of this article that I'm reading. And so two of his children were upset due to the unaliving of their father, Mr. Charles Towns, by the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. I'm sorry, I said LAPD. It's LASD. The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department unalived Mr. Charles Towns. One of his sons, one of Mr. Towns, Charles Towns' son, had an incident, an encounter with the Pasadena police officer. During this encounter, the police officer placed Mr. Charles Towns' son near a cactus-like plant. When a witness saw this, a female witness, she yelled to the police, "Please stop, leave him alone. His father was just unalived a week ago by Los Angeles Sheriff's Department." Instead of the officers stopping doing what they're doing, you know what? I think some officers lose their heart when they put on their badge. I mean, this is just a heartless incident to have occurred once. I'm just thinking about me. I don't know what this officer was thinking. I don't know what this officer was going through. I don't know what happened prior to this article. I don't know what happened after this article. I'm only giving my opinion based on what I have read. But I like to think, as a former officer who was wrongfully terminated due discrimination from my former employer, but as an officer, I like to picture myself in this situation. I'm involved with a young man, and a witness says, "Please stop." This young man's father was just unalived a week ago by Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. A part of me would have some sort of empathy towards this individual. Maybe he's acting unruly and because he can't control his emotions at that time. Maybe he's going through a depressive episode. Who knows? But I think some part of me would try to have some type of passion towards this individual. I definitely would not find a cactus-like plant to put his face in. That would be the last option. Anyway, so during this encounter, a wonderful black female police officer by the name of Officer, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but Tyson Crutchfield. During this process, she practiced the art of de-escalation, which we are all trained. As far as I know, every officer, especially in Georgia, the Georgia Post, are all trained in de-escalation techniques. Pasadena Police Department, I hope y'all are training y'all officers in de-escalation techniques. If not, please do better. Anyway, so black female officer Tyson Crutchfield practices the art of de-escalation by gently shoving the officer away from the young man whose father was just unalived by the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. You would think she would receive a commendation for practicing the art of de-escalation in this situation, but instead she experienced retaliation, which could have possibly led to her termination. I'm glad, as for right now, she was terminated. But check this out. Now, she's doing the right thing. She's doing what she was trained to do, which is de-escalation. Instead of being rewarded with the accommodation for doing what she was trained to do, she was told to go back to the office, and then she was put on paid administrative leave. Meanwhile, the officer who decided to put one of the citizens who he was hired to serve and protect. As far as I know, is still on the job with no disciplinary consequences. Now, there and in the police academy, we go through verbal judo and defensive tactics. Not one time have I ever went to a defensive tactics course and they said, hey, if you see a bush, a tree, or a plant, a good tactic is to put your, I would hate to say prisoner, or, because in this case, this is to put your victim's face near that plant, and that'll help calm that person down. They're going to have to make it messy. Dr. Rashad Ritchie, by the way, who's someone I happen to love dearly, he did a story about this on the YouTubes. Of course, someone placed it. Hey, by the way, please pray for my Falcons. Also, please like, please share, please subscribe. Thank you so much for subscribing. Please turn that notification bell. But he's doing a story on this, but to Officer Tyson Crutchfield, you did the right thing. You did the right thing. Even though they did the wrong thing, after you did the right thing, you did the right thing. And thank you for having the courage. Thank you for having the courage to file a claim. Hopefully, they will make their wrong thing that they've done to you right. We will see. But this is ridiculous. You followed your police training. You did what you were trained to do. And instead of being accommodated, not accommodation. I heard someone on another channel say accommodation. As far as I know, accommodation means getting a hotel room. But a commendation is receiving an award for doing something outstanding. You followed your police techniques. You did what you're supposed to do. You de-escalated the situation. And instead of getting accommodation, you was relieved of your duty and retaliated against. I think your lawsuit is lawful and right. I pray that you get everything that you are asking for and that you deserve. Thank you so much for having the courage to file a claim. Officer Tyson Crutchfield. We need more officers like you who are willing to step up and practice their training of de-escalating techniques. Like I said, I remember after they put that badge on, they addicted to this sense of power and control that they forget their brains and their heart. I don't know what it is. It's crazy, but I've seen and read too many of these articles to believe otherwise. I don't know, but thank you for having the courage to file a claim. Thank you for serving and protecting the people in Pasadena. To the victim, I'm so sorry your father was unalive. And then after that, you had to be involved with the same people who were in the same field, in the same occupation of the people who unalived your father. I think it's reasonable for some type of fear to be involved with someone who represents the same person who unalived your father. So I'm sorry you had to experience that, but I pray that change is made because of Officer Crutchfield's courage to file a claim, and that these officers continue to serve and protect the citizens of Pasadena appropriately. To Officer Crutchfield, I don't know if this has discouraged you or encouraged you to continue your career in the law enforcement field. If it has encouraged you, I pray that you apply for the chief of police position whenever it becomes available. I think you'll be a wonderful chief. After you become a chief, to any officer at the Pasadena Police Department, if you find Chief Crutchfield in any error in any way, do the same thing that Chief Crutchfield did. Have the courage to file it and let's just see what happens. But I believe that doing this, taking these steps, is a great way to make these police departments better. Okay? If any of you who are listening and watching this are former officers who've had the courage to file a claim and then won your lawsuit, and you have the desire to continue to be a police officer, become a chief. So what happened to you will never happen to another officer again in that police department. That's what makes these police departments better. That's the first thing. What happened to you will never happen to anybody else because you are now chief. The second thing, the officers will more than likely probably hold you to a higher standard because they're going to remember, or they're going to hear stories that you once filed a lawsuit against the same police department you are now a chief of. And knowing that you were successful in that would give them the courage to file a claim if they ever feel like anybody in the police department is in error. Okay? Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for turning on that notification page. I love you. Thank you for hitting that notification bell. Y'all know what I mean. And please subscribe. Thank you so much for subscribing. I think I'm at 373 the last time I looked, trying to get to 400 before the end of the year. Today is just December the 11th. I believe it can be done. Remember that love is all there is.